Uh-oh. Something's gone wrong. There we go. Maybe. Um, there we go. Okay. That was weird. My camera was off. I guess because the computer shut down. But should have came on. Sorry. The wife and I decided to go to Dunkin' Donuts and go to Waffle House. I have a vice, which is the cookie dough iced coffee. Uh, I get one of these before class every Monday and Wednesday. So I have to usually end up going to go get up and piss every hour. It's a 4-hour class. Mm, tastes like sex and Tommy Hall's tears. Mm. So anyway, just want to kind of have a hangout for whoever to come in. I know Alex Botten said he wanted to pop in and chat for a bit. Like I told him on the link, anyone's welcome, except Christian Hillbilly and maybe a few others. I don't have the patience for him right now, but generally, maybe one day, uh, I will allow his bigoted ass to come in and spew his nonsense, just like many of the other theists. Yeah, I renamed the Hangout from yesterday to the Matt Slick Beatdown, and I may hold off on doing another one until tomorrow, since Boiled Piss is going on today, and I'm just going to assume Talking Shit Tuesday will as well sometime afterwards. So I got to get some seasoning for my eggs. So rather than having another fucking 4-hour long hangout right after Talking Shit Tuesday, right after Boiled Piss, I'll just do it tomorrow. Not a big deal. To start having my own regular hangouts. Boiled shit. Talk about it. It'll be better than both of them. Mm. Well, I sent the link out. If you check your Google Plus shit, you should see an invite, and anybody can come in. Rather than, well, I did put out the link into the description in the event, so it is also there if you don't want to look through your feed. I understand that that's annoying, and I also don't like having to sift through 99 plus whatevers. Let's see. Yes, Tony, it should be stream. let me double check real quick while we wait for some folks. I'll check my channel to make sure. Last time I removed the public ring on the Hangout, not for the Matt Slick one, but for the Sunday night chat. And okay, cool. So that went through. It's not because it ended up being unlisted by accident. And let me check my channel. I suck at this. Videos, there we go. I might have to start this one over if it's not streaming because I'm not seeing the feed. Yeah, okay, let me see if I can do returning a subscriber. Huh. I am not seeing it. This is weird. Oh, okay, no, recent activities, there it is, yeah. Nope. Okay, live stream feed, and I'll share it to Google 2 Plus thing. This is more user friendly. There we go. Didn't have to go through all that. I did get a chance to see. I did get a chance to see Rachel Slick. I honestly didn't know that. I'd only heard that Matt Slick's daughter had broken away and he had disowned her and all that. At first, of course, I thought it was a joke, but she is no longer a part of the Slick family, and she is very beautiful and evidently very intelligent as well, which is a deadly combination. So I would like to talk to her about, growing up with. Oh, I see. How you doing there, Mr. Botten?
Hello there. How you doing? Can you hear me okay?
I hear you.
Okay. Just making sure that what I've got works here. So, yeah, hello. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Keep going.
Oh, no, I was just rambling until people came in. I'm just burning time, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, I've not got anything exciting to say. Sorry about that.
Well, it's fine. I mean, I actually wanted to ask you, if you don't mind talking about, the little video that Chaz made against yourself. And, kind of your thoughts on that, if you don't mind.
I don't know what I think of it. I think it's a bit silly. I think the post hoc rationalisation he's given for it of trying to make a statement about cliques has been rather poor, because if that's what he was aiming to do in the video, that didn't come across at all. And I think his doubling down since has been a bit silly. But he's welcome to his opinion. Yeah, if his opinion's wrong, he's also welcome to have it called out by people. But,
okay. I mean, I think it's an interesting conversation for us to have. Of course, not about really, and I'll restate this for anybody who's watching. I generally don't like when things kind of cross over into the public sphere, and as far as people's personal lives. Generally, I've broken that rule several times, especially for G-Man. But it deserves to be noted that there are certain perceived alliances. I guess I'll say that. And even if it's a perceived alliance between whomever, it does play out very dramatically over Google Plus.
yeah. The weird thing is, I mean, I know a lot of people could have said things about cliques and stuff, but I don't think I'm a member of any clique. I kind of don't really get involved in Hangouts very often. I tend to not, I just tend to do what I want to do on my videos. I don't tend to get too into the whole thing. It's all a bit, yeah, I don't feel any need to be involved in cliques or anything, So I always think it's a bit weird when people accuse me of being part of the clique, because I don't know what clique I'm supposed to be part of.
Okay, maybe someone will, whoever made the first comment about it, will explain, and because I've heard it alluded to, but like I said, I'm sure it'll play out, and these perceived alliances will have a list, opposing factions, so everyone knows from now on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's it's such a waste of time for people to behave like that. I think people just need to let stuff go and to grow up a bit. So, yeah,
Fair enough.
it's I don't know. What can you say?
Well, on a lighter note, a much funnier note, did you happen to see some of our Matt Slick footage from yesterday?
I've not watched it yet. No, I've heard about Matt got quite whiny and pathetic. Really.
That's an understatement.
Yeah.
Well, we ended at about the 1 hour mark, and the last thing Matt Slick had said is that, and I'm going to paraphrase, I foresee me being arrested in the near future.
What's he going to do? Rob a bank or something?
Suspense. I stopped it there.
Oh, okay. So it's not said what he's going to do.
The video that we're doing is on Bible Thumping Wingnut, on his Bible Thumping Wingnut show on his channel, and it was the live hangout that he hosted a few days ago, and it was,
Right.
I think, 2 hours and 11 minutes long, and we only got to about the hour mark. So when we pick it up, we're going to go about 58, 59 minutes, and then see his justification for this scenario in which he perceives himself being arrested.
Right. Well, that's fun for him.
I am interested. He made lots and lots of claims throughout the entire hangout about how Christians were. Oh, the best one is that he foresees in the future the government coming into Christian homes and arresting Christians who don't agree with homosexuality. Like, actually, like, you've seen V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
Okay, you know the part where
That's gonna
Stephen
happen.
Fry? Yeah, in reverse.
Yeah. Oh. What? So he thinks that's going to happen in reverse. What? Stephen Fry is going to break into people's houses?
Yeah, and since they are anti-gay, they're going to be arrested and possibly, beaten with a, small woman up underneath the bed.
Okay, but maybe if it's the other way around, maybe she'll be on top of the bed and be a large woman, or a large man on top of the bed. If it's the exact opposite, is
Maybe,
what
I
I'm
don't know.
thinking.
I'm really trying. He made so many claims that it's hard to pin down just one claim, because he didn't substantiate any of them.
Right.
He would say that, okay, well, this is a slippery slope. Then he would proceed to making a slippery slope fallacy, whereas you could get married to your dog and you could get married to someone else's animal and this, that, and the other. But the only interesting thing that I thought was brought up is that there is a man supposedly in New Jersey that is trying to get married to his daughter. And I think that actually created a very divisive topic for many people in the chat, because some said they don't care. Some said that as long as they consent, which that's kind of the position I take. And some said, well, it's kind of a sticky issue, whereas they would rule against it just because they find it disgusting.
The issue is not just consent; it's informed consent. If you have to have informed consent to be able to really consider these things, so that's why bestiality and paedophilia and stuff are just not going to be ever made legal, because the other party can't give informed consent. It's as simple as that. So it's very straightforward. What's done between two consenting adults, people can knock themselves out, do whatever they want, but and the other party isn't able to give consent, then that's my take on it anyway.
My issue is that consent is like the biggest issue. That is the point of contention for those actually discussing the topic, with consent being like the centerpiece. When Matt Slick talks about these scenarios, he doesn't even mention consent. Consent never comes up. It is just the union of whomever, however, because they feel like it. Interestingly enough, he added polygamy and polyandry to the list of things that he foresees in the future, which I kind of agree with him on a point that I could see polygamy being legalized.
I mean, again, it's between consenting adults, so a big deal. I don't see a problem with that. If people want to have, multiple partners and they're all consenting, they'll know what they're getting into. Absolutely fine. Knock themselves out. It's no issue for me. Does not bother me in the slightest.
It's really a non-issue, and that's that I would agree with you on that, because if they know what they're getting into, everybody's of age, then fuck it.
Yeah, that's it exactly. As long as it's informed consent is the only important part of that. If you haven't got informed consent, don't do it. Straightforward, really simple. And obviously, if you're a minor, you don't have the capacity to give informed consent. And if you're an animal, you don't have the capacity to give informed consent. So, they can say, oh, the child's decided to do it, but the child cannot give informed consent. So, there you go. So I don't know why they get all bent out of shape about it. It's not a big deal. It's really straightforward.
Well,
But
I think I know why. The
well, it says, the Bible says they should, doesn't it? So that's why.
even without him explicitly saying it, I think he is a Christian dominionist. That's just my
Yeah.
impression
Oh
of
no,
him.
not Matt Slick. Yes, he is. I'm pretty certain he is.
Anything that would impede that goal to him is a travesty and needs to be corrected immediately.
Yeah. 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 It's just control freakery, isn't it? That's just how they like to do things. I mean, the Calvinists are some of the worst of the worst. They're just awful, really, really terrible people.
He's a Calvinist, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Yeah, yeah. So he believes that people are either saved or condemned from the beginning of time, and that whatever you do makes no difference.
It's funny because I've actually told this to Veckel. Just an observation I have about Calvinists is that every Calvinist that I've met has been a narcissist.
Yeah. Well, they think they've been personally chosen by the creator of the universe from the beginning of time to be, one of his special friends. And you can say to them, "Well, wouldn't it be funny if I was elect and you weren't?" And they go, "Well, I've asked Matt Slick, how does he know he's elect?" He does. He just knows. And I've said, "Well, isn't that claiming to know the mind of God? And isn't that in fact sinful? In fact, a form of blasphemy?" And he's like, "No." And I'm like, "How do you know the mind of God on this one topic?" It's like, just does, because reasons.
Of
So that's how
course.
he rolls. Yeah.
I've yet to
Like you
meet.
can't.
Oh, go ahead.
It's just the same as how they can't explain how their revelation works in precept, which is also very popular amongst the Calvinists. So, yeah.
I've never met a Calvinist who's legitimately believed that he or she was not a part of the elect. I think that's also worth
Exactly.
mentioning.
Yeah. They are all members of the elect. They can't comprehend that they're not. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Right. I don't know why. I don't know why they think that. But no, I do know why. Because, like you said, they're absolutely all narcissists and believe some of the most despicable things imaginable. They're like the ISIS of Christianity. So they're just awful, just terrible, terrible people. I've never met a nice Calvinist. I mean, the thing is about Calvin himself was an awful person. I think it was Sibelius he tricked and then had executed. So he wasn't a good guy. Anyway, I'll be right back. Hold on a second.
Sure. Yeah, if anybody else wants to hop in, the link's in the description. I sent out invites. I'm just having a little chat, looking over some of my homework. I have a test actually this week that I need to take. So I'm trying to have a place where skeptics, rationalists, reprobates can actually just come and just fucking chat. I know some people are getting a little tired of other hangouts, which will not be mentioned. So it's just to kind of add some balance. And I don't watch TV anymore. So
You don't watch TV?
no, actually I don't. I come in the mornings. I have both my laptops set up with homework on each one, and I have Google Plus set up at least on one of them, and I will watch Hangouts and discussions as I'm doing homework or as I'm paying bills or what have you.
Seems reasonable.
I find it much more stimulating.
Yeah. It's kind of weird because I'm kind of going the opposite way at the moment. I'm actually watching a lot more TV than being on the internet. Well, I'm kind of watching things on my computer, but it's TV shows that I've downloaded and stuff. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, I'm honestly waiting for the episodes of River Monsters to be available on the stream of the Xfinity, whatever it is that I have here.
Yeah,
I'm paying for.
so I kind of just download a lot of stuff. I've got a Raspberry Pi that I still need to get back from my house that's set up as a media streamer, so that's got a lot of stuff on it, which is kind of cool. So it was Jim Garden showed me how to set that up. You know, Jim, one of the clique people, apparently. So, you know, one of the members of my clique, apparently, you know, the clique that I'm supposed to be in, is one of them. So.
Yeah, I actually went to Jim's page after his name was mentioned, and I noticed he wrote a pretty lengthy, I guess a farewell note about different topics and different people. So I just skimmed over it and then said, okay, I'm just, say bye to Jim whenever I get a chance, but he will be missed. One of the people I like.
Well, he's got another G Plus account, but he's being very selective about who he links to it and who he circles with it. So, I can't blame him, because I think part of the problem is that very recently the community itself seems to become kind of toxic. But again, what can you do about that? That's just how it is sometimes, isn't it? Yeah. Online communities will do this. So, yeah. So that's fun.
Hello, Fiona.
Hello.
Hello, Fiona.
How are you all doing?
Oh, okay. So this is Jonas. She's another member of the clique, apparently.
I jumped in because I was hearing you talking about Calvinism and this thing about knowing that you're elect.
Yeah.
And I wanted to put in my sort of tuppence worth here. I think it's true when you say that, well, that means that they are claiming to know the mind of God.
Yeah.
And it also means that they believe they have already undergone their judgment.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't found anywhere to support the idea that our judgment happens while we are still wandering about on this planet.
Yeah, no, it's completely unbiblical, the whole thing.
Yeah, and the other thing is that they will themselves say that when you die and have to stand before God. So everybody else is going to be judged after they die, but they have been specially judged prior to that. And it's two separate rules. And I would hate to think I was arrogant enough to say I am saved.
You see, the thing is that you're saying that they've been judged, but the thing is, the Calvinists believe that the judgment is the outcome of the judgment is already preordained. That only the people who are elect will be saved.
So what was the point of
Christ? You're either elect or you're not. Oh, absolutely nothing. There's 0 point to that. In Calvinism, it doesn't make any sense.
The position basically negates the need for Christ.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh well then, yeah.
It also completely negates the point of faith, good deeds, anything.
Yeah.
It just removes all of it. Because you're either saved or you're not. You could be the worst person in the world, but if you're one of the elect, you're fine.
Yeah, see, that's the problem I have.
You could be the best person ever. Yeah. And if you're not one of the elect...
It seems to be a sort of carte blanche to just do what you want. You can be as mean as you want or as nice as you want. You can be as dishonest as you want or as honest as you want. It doesn't matter what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And also they're very anti-works.
Mm-hmm.
Works will not save you. I don't think anybody has said that works alone, whereas they will claim faith alone. Well, faith alone and Calvinism.
But it makes no difference. The thing is with the whole notion of the elect is you don't even have to believe. But if you've been chosen, you're fine. Mm-hmm. There's literally nothing you can do to change the outcome of your preordained destiny.
So if you're one of the elect, you could really be an atheist and you're saved.
Well, there you go. That's how it works. I did ask Matt Slick about that once. Did say to him, "What if I'm saved and you're not?" And he said that wouldn't happen.
How does he know?
Because
reasons.
Yeah, just reasons. Just because he knows the mind of God, apparently. Which I then asked him if that was actually blasphemous, and he said it wasn't.
Telepathy.
Yeah, telepathy.
Ah, right. You see, I always look on this as you know, it's that phrase that gets trotted out all the time. By their fruits shall you know them. And I mean, so what are fruits? What are actual fruits? And I would say it's what you say. It's your deeds.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have a different interpretation, Fiona. It is you actually have to become a gardener, and if you win the local gardening contest and you have the biggest fruit, then that's how you will be judged.
All right.
That
So
makes
it's basically down to the size of your melons then. That's great.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So,
I just don't. You see, well, I can only speak for myself. As a Christian, I don't preach because I don't know enough. But I try to behave in such a way that it's preaching without words, I suppose. Which
lead by example.
yeah, I mean, Jade's very fond of one of the quotes. It was always preach the gospel and sometimes use words. Can't remember who that quote came from. And I think when you look at people and you look at the example that they're setting, you wonder to yourself, what are they getting from this? By their fruits shall you know them. I get very confused by it. If you behave like a douche, sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. I'm just saying, welcome to Groovy, Simon, and No Size, the antagonist.
I'm the antagonist, or is that another guy?
Was it you that was getting into it with Eric Silverman the other day?
I did. I apologize.
You could apologize to him. But I'd like some antagonism on my channel. I don't mind. And I guess Lawton had to go. Okay.
Oh,
I've only just caught the end of what Fiona said there, but if that was, I'd just like to apologise for being a douchebag.
What?
Which is a joke.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm saying it's like if you're supposed to know people by their fruits, and they behave like a douchebag, and that's supposed to be them showing to the world what their Christianity means to them, then what is the take-home message that's coming from that?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, absolutely. I mean, douchebags are douchebags, and people who aren't. It doesn't matter what they actually believe in, right?
Well, it shows that,
I say that in generalization. I'm not quite with it, but you know what I mean. It's, good people are just good people if they're atheist or Christian or Muslim or Hindu or, right? So, yeah, in that respect.
Yeah, but when you have those who are preaching to you about how moral they are because they're Christians, and yet they're behaving like absolute douchebags, and at the same time saying to everybody, by their fruits shall you know them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's the argument I've heard in that situation is that it's okay to treat atheists that way because God would treat them that way.
Yeah, but the only problem is that it's anybody out with their small sect. It isn't just atheists. They have redefined the term Christian to mean basically me and only me.
Yeah, me and a select
and heaven's going to be a very empty place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm going to prefer hell for hookers and coke. That's just my personal preference. To each their own.
Well, I have to admit, I do look at certain characters, and I think to myself, if they end up in heaven, God will be leaving.
Yeah, I have a hard time with that. Yeah. Go ahead, Jim.
It just seems very... I don't know, a lot of it comes across as, look how good I am, you're not, ha ha.
What about what about when, someone is sort of condescending or antagonizing? I mean, then things get heated, right? And people show their character not necessarily in a good light, but they're still good people. I mean, everybody gets passionate about things.
Oh yeah, that's very true. But I think you can notice tendencies.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can
I
notice a
hope,
pattern.
just because I haven't seen you for so long, but I hope Alex is all right. I've kind of been missing him around, but there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, he seemed like he was doing okay, but I guess he had to go. Like I said before, Dee and I don't really interact. I think this is like the first time that we've spoken on one-on-one. But I understand people have their beefs with one another. People still have their beef with Fiona, with Mark, and I try to sidestep that as much as possible. But at the same time, I think it's an interesting conversation to have about just our basic human interactions with one another. I'm not going to be a part of cliques and whatever. Like I tell people in the Black Atheist blogosphere, I'm looking out for me. You can be a separationist, you can be one of the inclusionists or whatever, but at the end of the day, I'm going to look out for number one. So that is.
Yeah, I really dislike the clique thing. And although I'm friends with Mark and Chaz, I don't agree with their views on certainly Alex and etc. Just to put that out there.
Yeah, and, I mean, you don't have to. You're not obligated to. And like I said,
exactly. Yeah.
You, Chaz, and I were talking about it yesterday. Some people felt it was overboard. Some people don't. And everybody's entitled. As long as there's open line of communication and as much transparency as possible, then let things fall where they fall.
Yeah, I mean, I just do my own thing. I have my own
Tough though,
opinions.
isn't it? It is tough because people put you in boxes.
Yeah.
I hate it because I hang around in Nadia's room. Oh, I used to. I mean, I don't so much these days. But at the beginning, I only really went to Nadia's room, and I heard comments from certain sections of the community, which was, to saying, "Well, why do you do that? You must have some ulterior motive." In fact, my ulterior motive was just that I was brand new to G+, and that room was always open.
Yeah.
So for me, I was just meeting people, and I didn't really understand the politics behind it.
See, I'm to be honest, I'm really not interested in the politics behind it. I have my own opinions, and I'm outspoken about them most of the time. But I will stay quiet quite often, because I know that to comment may set the cat amongst the pigeons.
That's something I haven't with yet.
Yeah, so I don't actually. It may be a really interesting thread, but I'm just not going to post. And
well, again,
I don't think anybody should feel like that.
Sorry, having had some interaction with you, I felt very much that when the topic came round to anywhere near your expertise, then actually it was better not to have a debate, but to have an education session.
Well,
and I greatly value those. I mean, I haven't had them for a while, obviously, but the ones that I did have, I greatly valued.
Yeah, I think maybe sometimes, I think was it Alex that used the word toxic?
Right.
That we lose sight of why we're here when the atmosphere becomes very toxic.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get back to that now. Because I think I'm here to put out information. That's it. And I'm here to fight this idea of getting creationism into science classes under the guise of intelligent design. I mean, a pig in lipstick is still a pig. And
yep.
And that's. I mean, I got involved in all of this in about 2000, and so I was involved in the run-up to Dover, and I followed that case every day. I would rush home from work, waiting for the transcript of that day to be put up, and I read every transcript. I mean, I really need to get out more. It was absolutely fascinating. But that's what I'm here for. That's why I got involved in this. I'm not here to debate about whether atheism or faith is the correct view, because I don't think anybody is able to state that. Nobody can state that as a fact. We don't know. Is either lying to everybody else or lying to themselves or both. I'm more interested in the effects that extreme radical fundamentalism can have on society and the education system.
Yes. Yes, I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, you touched on my main reason, which is the point about, I mean, in a broad shell, it's anti-theism, but in the more direct shell, it's the damage to education. And
Yes.
that's my kind of thing, which we probably agree on, because, you know, as you learn more, you realize the value of learning more becomes greater.
Yeah. And I think maybe there are quite a few people who label as anti-theist who in some way are actually more, I can't find a word for it, but they are more
Antagonistic?
No. What they're actually trying to do is make sure that religion is kept out of public life.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
The secular
for that
rule,
reason, for that reason, they label themselves as anti-theist. But you see, I would share their opinion. You've got to keep religion out of public life, but I'm not an anti-theist.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I think sometimes we get very.
I said it as.
No,
I mean, I think I said it to someone the other day as closely as I could, which was, and I don't mean to attack your position here in any way. It may come across that way. Please don't take offence. For me, the anti-theist thing is about whether you put your book above your personal relationship with your concept of God.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, then that's when I become an anti-theist and say, no, I'm sorry, that's too much. If you put your personal relationship to your creator above your book, okay, then I'm happy just to be an atheist and say, well, that's your faith and has good things for you, things, that's cool, that's great.
Yeah.
So, I make a distinction between that. You mean, when I'm an anti-theist, I'm not against theists. Ipso facto, I'm just against the idea of raising the immoral standard of the Bible above human dignity.
And I would agree with that. That's another thing that I've noticed a lot, that what seems to be happening is what I would call bibliolatry. They're worshipping the book.
I totally agree with that, and when I bring that point up to a lot of the religious people on here, they'll automatically switch to saying, no, well, it's a personal relationship. And when I ask them, well, if it's a personal relationship, can we append the Bible? Can God talk to you directly? Then they'll go, no, the Bible is canon. So I do believe they're worshiping the book.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
You see, I think they've painted themselves into a corner, taking the Bible literally, every single word in it. And they then have got to ignore that the Bible is an account of human interaction, or it's the human's account of their interaction with God. And you can't remove the human from that. But they try to. And I actually heard somebody quoting John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, right? And what they try to say is that verse is telling you that the Bible is God, because the Bible is said to be the Word of God, and God is the Word, according to John 1:1. Therefore, the Bible is God. I've actually heard that argument made.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, I've heard it at
John
least once.
Lennox makes that argument, believe it or not.
And they're
Yeah,
confusing the map with the
the,
territory.
the ironic thing about that, the ironic thing about that is that it's a Greek philosophical concept, the logos.
Yeah.
So that's the Hellenistic side of Christianity, which I find ironic. Because if we could just drop
More
the
about
Jewish
logic
side
and
of it,
reason,
it would
right?
probably be okay.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Right?
I mean, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Again, I would argue logos is not really the word; it's the logic of the word. But
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, that's splitting ideas,
But when you have painted yourself into that corner with your biblical literalism, then that's when you find yourself having to defend all sorts of strange things that you know in your heart of hearts is wrong because it harms other people. But you have to put that aside. You have to put that morality, your own innate morality aside to try and then defend some of these happenings that if you weren't in a religious discussion, you would never dream of defending.
Yeah, and you have to try and justify atrocities.
Oh, and that's because they forget about the human input. Well, I read the story of the Amalekites, and to me, just reading it, what it comes across to me as is, when a kid comes up with that excuse for why they've done something bad, and they know that it was something that they shouldn't have done it, but they want to try and sort of push off, get some of the guilt off their back, so they come up with an excuse. And that's what that reads like to me. That in the heat of battle, terrible things were done. And if they believed that they were in God's battle, they shouldn't have been doing these terrible things. So let's come up with this idea. God told us to do this.
Yeah, I mean, this is there's justification for this in terms of this is the Old Testament versus the New Testament and all these kind of excuses.
Yeah.
And obviously this is the issue, isn't it? Because justification is a slim thing. Which is why I take the position of anti-theism. I mean, it's not that I'm just against the Bible. I'm also against other books which have these moral teachings.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm against Buddhism because reincarnation is unproven, it's supernatural, and it doesn't help any morality to do with living. Not in the real sense. You can get some good ideas out of it, just like you can get some good ideas out of the Gospels. But you cherry pick them, and if you're cherry picking them, that means your relationship is higher than the book. That seems to be the anathema, which Christians can't reconcile. Okay, so if their opinions are bigger than the book, that means there is no absolute morality standard, because it comes down to interpretation. So unless you're going to say I have faith that the Holy Spirit will guide my moral choices, and that's just circular. So, but I find a huge conflict in the whole idea and the morality of the idea.
The argument is made that God did it, so it must be right, or God commanded it, so it must be right. But if you then ask the question, so if today you went away and you did that, would it be right? If let's say we're talking about flooding the world, and they will say no, it wouldn't be right. All these deaths, and you say so why is it right? Oh, it's because God did it. Well, that makes it relative. If it's right because he did it, but wrong because everybody else does it, then that's not absolute morality.
Indeed.
Yes, you're very
Why
right.
don't they get that?
I left to put my first. Because I don't know why. Is it the uncertainty principle?
Yeah.
I mean that jokingly and
Yeah.
seriously at the same time.
It's I mean they will actually make that argument in a discussion where they're trying to demonstrate absolute morality. They think that that example is a demonstration of absolute morality when it's a clear-cut case of relative morality.
Yeah.
And you just end up face palming.
Okay, I'm for those of you watching, please share the live stream. Redline, I sent you an invite. You didn't add me on Google Plus, so I can't find you and add you. So I had to manually go and find your stuff. You should be better than this. Just saying.
No.
Just saying.
I just sent him an invite over Skype and see to let me know.
Mm.
Can I bring up a controversial topic?
Of course.
Okay, this is my observation. Why is it that the religious people from outside of the U.S. are just, this is a generalization, just more pleasant to interact with?
Well, it's something you have to understand about U.S. politics and U.S. culture. Much of our culture is built around propaganda and divisiveness. And I say that being a former service member, being a minority, and I have a very interesting view, I'll say that, about how the U.S. is. We have this gilded image that we are better than everyone else. So even within that outlook for nationalism within our own nation, we each of us as individuals will find ways that we are better than the next man. There's a pecking order. You are lower on the totem pole, so it's easier for the religious to put themselves at the top of that, especially those who are highly religious and of the religious right. And so once you get at the top of that, you become Roy Montero.
Good old Moy Rontero.
That's what we talk about with this whole idea of Calvinists believing that they, are gifts and hand chosen.
I'd like to unpack that, if I may.
Go for it.
And just say the apples that I see are the stress of not having a net in your social system. Kind of means that the competitiveness is enhanced in the society. Okay, and when you get competitive about things, then obviously you achieve more, but at the same time, the ease of interaction is because people have got vested interest, which they're much more likely to defend, rather than being able to forgive other people's vested interests. It becomes much more competitive, in other words.
I mentioned in the side chat there that it was the Puritans who left England because they wanted the freedom to discriminate against religions other than their own, and in England that was not allowed. But they wanted to discriminate, and that's why they were quite happy to leave England and go and set up elsewhere. And so that attitude, I think, was the founding attitude.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it, because if you build an entire nation based on the position that you should be allowed to discriminate against people, you're kind of going to repeat that as much as possible. It's going to become your mantra of sorts. And as we see through the annals of American history, that's exactly what fucking happens every, 50-something years. We have to undo that bullshit. And now, here where we are. Look, we had to we had to make a momentous decision And it wasn't just, remarkable thing. It wasn't this novel idea. It's the same shit that we were talking about 60 years ago. Let's not discriminate against legal fucking adults.
And it's the same arguments too.
Yes, actually, there's a point where Matt Slick uses the same exact lines that many bigots used for Loving versus Virginia. For interracial marriage, the same exact thing. Look, here we have the slippery slope. Once we allow this to happen, the people are going to want to marry their dogs, and then the social order is going to just be thrown out of whack. And if you replace gay with black, it's the same thing, the same exact rhetoric. And Matt Slick would be one of those people with the signs and the fucking pants all the way up to his nipples, angry, carrying signs, ranting and raving about this. And that's why I would really like to talk to Rachel Slick, because I honestly think he was one of those people.
Oh, one question I have about him and his ministry is like, what kind of example is he? Seems like a really miserable person. Like that. Like what does he hope to like accomplish with that? I don't get his whole act. Is it a persona? Or is this him? Or I don't get his act, for one thing. He just seems really miserable.
He's, from what I understand, he's like that all the time, and I'm sure part of it's his Asperger's, but yeah, there's no reason he should be like that all the time.
Have any of you heard the Phil Snyder or watched the Phil Snyder video? The preacher that took the speech against anti-segregation, desegregation, and just changed some nouns in it.
Is the one where it's a preacher that's addressing Congress, or
yeah, he's addressing.
He's addressing like a city council or something, and he goes, sorry, I read this was from 1953 for interracial marriage or something like that.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah, that's one of the I saw that video, and I thought that was very touching, and I really enjoyed that he stepped outside of himself to say, you know what, I'm looking at history, I'm seeing what's being said now, we can't make this mistake. Christians are going to suffer another blow. And as far as public image goes, especially in a time where the internet is helping to cripple religious belief. And so now you have something like this where many folks who are much younger than me have gay friends, and they don't see it as an abomination because they're not bigots. So why repeat the same nonsense? And it's just crazy. But he made some very good points. And what was his name, so everybody else can go look him up?
Phil Snyder.
Phil Snyder. Yes. Please go watch that out. I really enjoyed that video. That's the kind of Christian I like to live next to.
They've interviewed tons of people who got married when Loving versus Virginia happened, and they said the same thing where what do you call it? The officials that do the wedding licenses that wouldn't do that for them. It's the same. It's the exact same argument. Like people would say, "Hey, I don't want to officiate for an interracial." It's the exact same argument. It's pathetic.
And I'm sure the same reaction was had in Mississippi, where they just stopped issuing marriage licenses altogether.
Oh yeah, some people close schools just to keep them from being desegregated.
Yeah, but I mean in Mississippi currently, like, straight people can't get a marriage license because they don't want to have to give one to a gay couple. That's ridiculous.
It's really sad when you have to fabricate outrage and project this notion of victimhood, because in essence nothing is going to happen. My marriage did not suffer in the least after this after the legalization of gay marriage. My wife didn't make me breakfast, and so I had to get up and make my own goddamn breakfast. Boo fucking who. But literally nothing changed. And so we see people like Matt Slick saying that, what was one of the claims? There was some real funny ones. I mentioned them when Botten was on. Matt Slick we ended right as Matt Slick said he foresaw himself in the near future being arrested. I'm curious as to what scenario he is going to use to validate that, but if it's anything,
scenario.
He gave okay, yeah, that's right where we stopped. So I'm going to pick it up probably tomorrow, because Talking Shit Tuesday's happening today and Boiled Piss, and I want to catch both of those. And it's probably going to be a fairly long hangout. It's going to be right after I get off from my class. So I want to pick up there, and I got to get with 13 Heathens so we can start the stream up and we can watch that fucking train wreck again, because I'm really curious.
Yeah. Well, he used the Fox News. Christianity is going to be illegal. So when I decide that I'm just going to say that homosexuality is a sin, that's going to be labeled hate speech, and they're going to arrest me.
Yeah. What I would find very, very interesting is, let's just say in a hypothetical, that there were moves to make Christianity illegal. You can bet your bottom dollar that Matt Slick and his ilk would be quite happy to have all the Catholics fighting on his side. You know, the ones that aren't really Christians.
I'm not terribly sure about that, but most likely, because he estimated the Christian population of the country as, what was it, something like 20% on Sunday?
Yeah, that's because, you see, it depends on what they're talking about. If they're trying to make the argument ad populum that the number of Christians in the world is really high, Catholics count. But if they're trying to make the argument of the number of true Christians, i.e. those what believe like what I do, then suddenly the Catholics are discounted, as are all the other denominations.
Yep.
That's interesting, because I do see a lot of that happening here on Google Plus, where somebody, especially like G-Man, will mention a number of total Christians throughout the world, even though he himself disagrees with, 85% of the Christians. Yeah, I'll say 85% of the Christians here. I give him that because when he does kind of break away and start thinking for himself, Bible thumping Wingnut is there to take him behind the shed and whoop his ass and make him change his mind like he did before. So I had to, increase that number.
Yeah.
Which kind of ties into the whole anti-intellectualism of it, because to ignore that the Catholic Church basically safeguarded the tenets of Christianity up until Martin Luther, that's just amazing to deny that. I don't know how you can. These are the people that give you the tradition that you have, right? I mean, Martin Luther that's the 1500s. That's just, it's amazing that you can discount Catholics as Christians. It's amazing.
Well, it's out of convenience. That's all it really is. It's out of the desire to say, I'm right, but there are people with me who are kind of right, and so I'll count them in just to fit my narrative. But the magical man said that I'm really, really right, and so everyone else just needs to get on board.
Yeah, it's them moving at the speed of fuck you, basically.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to take off my shirt again. It's really hot here, so yeah.
As long as you don't go back to making fish porn, I think we'll be all right.
Well, I was actually going to there it is. I was actually going to open my freezer and prepare the fish my wife caught last week, because I really need to do that.
I'm just looking and thinking I would love to be let loose on that with wax strips. But then again, I've got a cruel streak.
I don't know. I really need to, after this fucking course, I need to see about doing some response videos. Oh, Fabio! Sorry, the Italian. I'm going to add him. Okay, so I really need to look at some of these videos that I'm seeing people like Ken Jones replying to. They're supposedly these ex-trans individuals who are making videos with the flashcards and the really somber music, and they're telling how shitty their life was until some crazy Christian cult convinced them to, self-loathe even more. and
Well,
pretty
that would mean
much,
they're pre-op too.
Hmm?
That would mean they have to be pre-op too.
Yeah,
If they're post-op trans, there's not really a way to go back.
yeah. From the individuals that I saw, they were pre-op, and it's the expression and the body language, to me, indicated that they are still struggling inside and they are still hurting. And so they're just giving out these religious platitudes to satisfy their Christian family and friends, and on the inside they're dying.
And this is when religion's dangerous to me. This is when it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Oh, Nate Cunningham. Okay, I don't know if. Hold on. I don't know if anyone else is saying. I just so happened to look on my feed because there was something else I wanted to bring up. Nate Cunningham had started a hangout called "If You Don't Support Incestuous Marriage, You're a Bigot," and with all the pretentiousness of Nate Cunningham involved. So I actually wanted to talk about that because that was an interesting point that I thought, and I say interesting, being that I use that interchangeably with controversial. There's a point being made about the man in New Jersey who is Michael Phelps. Is that Neo?
Yeah.
Okay, so an interesting point is being made about this legalization of gay marriage being a precedent to being married to your own son or daughter. Now, with that, I know they're grasping at straws, but there is an interesting conversation that can be had as to whether something like that should be legal, because if both parties are consenting adults, should we actually restrict that?
Well, that's a difficult one because if it's going to affect non-consenting non-adults, then I think yes. And that point for me would be if you have very closely related people having offspring, because those offspring may suffer as a result.
And that's something that I would.
Fiona, couldn't you say the same thing about people that are HIV positive?
Pardon?
It's kind of moving over into eugenics. So let's say two people who are HIV positive should not be joined in holy matrimony because it would be a great chance of them passing along that disorder to the offspring.
So then isn't it the having the children that's the problem and not the marriage?
Well, yeah. Fiona, you go ahead. I want to think about that because you raise a good point.
I actually want to think about that one as well. That is a good
Let's
point.
actually look at a hypothetical for that one. Not that.
Mike, turn your volume down. Jeez. Holy shit.
And why are you using Priv's avatar?
Hey guys. 1, 2. Hello.
Hello, Simon.
Hello.
Hey, cool. Yeah, I just got an angry message from a friend of mine, which I wanted to quickly relate to Fiona, if I may.
Oh boy.
Apparently I said something incorrect, which is true. I am in ignorance of this, but nonetheless, just to clarify, if you wouldn't mind, I made a remark which may have said that some of us hold Chaz's views, and that's not necessarily the case. In fact, Mark specifically says that he does disagree with Chaz on the point about Alex, and that he doesn't have any views as such on the situation and doesn't want to get involved in the politics of it. So I hope if I said something out of place, and I don't know the politics, Fiona, so I'm kind of, you know what I mean. I'm trying to hope that you'll understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I have no idea what this is about.
Okay. I just wanted
to have an off-air hangout about it.
That I may have insinuated that Mark had a view one way or the other.
Oh right. All right. So basically,
I don't know what Mark's view is, and he's just texted me to say quite rightly that I insinuated something that he had never said.
Right. Oh, so it's nothing to do with me then.
I think it's no. I think it's to do with the whole situation. But I'm not, as I say, I'm not in a position to say it. I may have insinuated earlier something which was untrue. Is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Okay, which is that um, yeah, individuals' views are individuals, and I insinuated that several people had the same view as Chaz, and that isn't the case, especially in
Yeah.
Mark's position. And I wanted to say that outright because, I've insinuated that that wasn't the case. And as I said, I just got a message from him to say no, he doesn't associate with those views. Does that make sense, Fiona?
Yeah. I suppose it does. But it's really nothing to do with me.
Well, yeah, you're a friend of Alex's, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I'm relaying it to you. So if I said something earlier which made Alex disappear because I'd insinuated a view which wasn't true, then I'm sorry for that and I apologise.
I'm absolutely baffled at this point.
Well, I really want to be careful because, we were talking about cliques and things, and I don't want to put somebody else in the position where they're in a clique where they don't want to be. Because
I wish everybody.
Not to take this off the topic of awkward conversation, but does my level sound a little better?
Sounds good.
That's much better.
Okay. Back on the topic we were talking about before it got awkward when he joined.
Okay, I'm really sorry, Michael, just before you go. So, yeah, please accept my apologies, Fiona. And
you don't have to apologise. You don't have to apologise to me.
Okay.
No apology necessary.
Speak to him.
I just all I would say is that I think quite often people automatically jump to this idea of, oh, you're in a clique, and make assumptions about people, and we shouldn't do that. Just because you hold the same position as or opinion as someone doesn't mean you're in a clique.
Yeah. Or not.
And in fact,
this is the point.
Exactly.
Chaz's views are his own, and they're nothing to do with the rest of the people that are in that particular show or whatever.
Yeah, and it would be nice if that sentiment was extended to all. I think that's something that we need to do.
Indeed.
We need to be very aware of that within this community, that too often we pigeonhole people.
Yeah, I accidentally did it earlier by complete mistake, and that's why I wanted to come in, and sorry to be an awkward moment, but anyway, I hope that's made it clear.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've not got a problem with anything that you've said.
Good.
No problem at all.
Alex was my first sort of subscription on here, and I care basically. So I want to make sure things are absolutely clear from my point and other people around me.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay.
It's fine.
I'm sorry about this drag.
No, it's fine. It was actually the first topic, and I had Chaz on yesterday to give his impression, and now Alex Bodden came on to give his side. So I mean, we spend a little time talking about YouTube drama, and that's not for the sake of it, but actually for the sake of seeing how our personal interactions really matter here. And it was kind of a token as to what I was saying in my Hangout that's now still unlisted about. We pick and choose kind of what we want to be offended by, what we want to be offended by. Many people are offended at Science Atheist, or a lot of shit the Science Atheist does, while others are not. Some people make good points, some people don't. There isn't really this strong standard as to the line between what can be satire and what can be offensive. So I think that's a discussion that is worth having to some degree. So. But back on topic, Nate Cunningham, just to recap, I guess he watched my video or someone else's video, or he's just sucking Matt Slick's dick about if we now allow legalization of gay marriage across the nation, then the legalization of two people, a man who is the father of a girl who is of age, to be legalized. And should that or should that not be allowed?
There are health issues, health concerns that will keep that illegal.
Well, then that Groovy brought up the point that somebody who's HIV positive, or let's say two people who have Tay-Sachs, or who have the Tay-Sachs gene, it's recessive, but if you have two people, it's a greater chance, according to my Punnett squares, that they will actually pass that horrible disorder onto their offspring, and that offspring will inevitably die before its age. So we kind of start getting into this eugenics realm that is really iffy. And so how far into that area do we really want to go into? But just for the sake of argument, let's say, you know what, they're doing it for romantic reasons and non-romantic reasons. There's some type of legal stipulation where they're trying to get around some law and they have to be married in order to do that, in one scenario. And then the second scenario, that there may or may not have been abuse in the past, and that they legitimately love each other and want to have a sexual relationship but not produce children because one of them is sterile. Everybody's like, fuck that, I'm not talking about that shit.
It's
No,
kind
it's-
of weird. Go ahead. Sorry.
Was somebody else talking?
I was.
Oh, go ahead.
Somebody else had started. I was going to say it's kind of weird because, I mean, if you get it to the point, if you were to boil it down to where two people were married just for the tax break, because married and filing separately is still the lowest tax bracket, then you could definitely justify it as long as there were no children involved. So it's really awkward and kind of icky to think about, but you could definitely justify it.
This is a difficult one. You're always going to find various exceptions to any rule.
Go ahead and legalize it, and natural selection will take its course. I think an overwhelming majority of the human population will not partake, right? Because we just know it's a bad thing to do. And anyone who's like totally fine with it, you just kind of go, right on, you go with that, way over there. All right, and we'll handle it. I mean, we will discriminate against it. You know, and like I'm, you know, like if I was dating a woman, all of a sudden, oh no, I'm the daughter of my, you know, brother and father, I'd be like, goodbye. And it will sooner or later, it will go extinct, and we'll remember that no, you can't do that. If you have too many similarities on the chromosomal level, you're gonna have problems. So we'll figure that out. That's the same thing. Like I would think that two people with HIV who wanted to get married would actually would take that into consideration, and maybe, yeah, we probably shouldn't, because now we're going to make an infant that is just going to have just some serious issues from the very second it's born. No,
that's not necessarily the
something
case.
that we can actually expand on that, though, is when it comes to two people with HIV getting married, what if they actually both get themselves to where they don't need to have children, to where they actually get themselves fixed and actually make that conscious choice? I mean, that's something that they're going to weigh when it comes down to actually getting married. They're going to weigh
Are you talking about like if they cure their HIV? I lost.
No, I'm not talking about curing their HIV. I'm talking about getting, let's say they get SNPs. Using that as an option.
Well, so they've taken measures to make sure that they won't
have children. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I just say, yeah, that would be the responsible way to do it. You know, if you ran into a couple and went, oh, no, we have HIV and we made a kid, chances are you're going to go, oh, whoa, yeah, you're being a little irresponsible with the power of creation there. You might want to rethink your position.
Hey, just want to jump in real quick. With the use of retroviral drugs, it's not a guarantee that the child of an HIV-infected mother will have HIV. That's not a guarantee anymore.
Right.
But like typical
Kind of
of this
aside.
debate, it's always the most extreme example. I mean, yeah, all three people that want to marry, fathers that want to marry their daughter, moms that want to marry their sons, it's always that most extreme example. I just don't think there's a huge group of people that are pining for that.
Right.
I just think it's always the most extreme example on here. That's why
Like,
that's
I would have a hard time accepting that. Like, if someone said, "Oh, 1/10% of the United States is, are all related and they want to get married," I would find that number to be incredibly high. At 1/10%, I would find that really high. And again, Matt doesn't actually think any of this fun stuff. Now he's just doing what Drag was saying about how, like, oh, he's taking out black people, gay people. Now he's going to throw in, oh, how about these people who want to inbreed? You can't. Yeah, he just keeps trying to. He's continually like moving the goalposts around and stuff like that. When he just doesn't realize he's lost. It's done. Okay, the U.S. is finally catching up with the rest of the world, and applying religion to these things is dying, and this is his death rattle.
Well, he's made his life on. I mean,
Yeah.
he's made his life on this, right?
Right.
It's a survival thing for people like Matt. It's
And how much money does he pull in with this? I'm assuming, is he a preacher or something like that? He has a ministry?
Yeah, Carm.
Yeah, so his livelihood depends on this? How about that?
Absolutely.
Isn't that convenient? So, yeah. Just like I don't even listen to Matt Slick videos anymore. I'm tired of it. He's been defeated a few times.
Yeah, I've given
Just
up.
won't accept it.
Yeah, I've given up.
How many times has someone said to him, "Dude, I get you can assert this. That's great. Can you demonstrate it?" And he never does. It's like all of a sudden this really smart guy forgets the definition of the word demonstrate. Huh?
There we go. Headset's back on. Okay, cool. We got some new people. Redline, you finally joined us. Thanks. Hey, how you doing?
It's okay. My internet was just bugging out on me, so after beating my modem with a stick, it finally started to work. Hey, if it didn't want to get hit anymore, it was going to start working.
Hey, at least you didn't shoot it.
The Eric Cartman.
That's true.
I was like, you better work, you motherfucker!
I'm really.
It's a bad modem!
Red, I am really sorry that I brought that post to your notice.
Yes. I think
I knew you would have that reaction. I just couldn't help myself.
Seriously, Fiona, you just want to watch me suffer, don't you?
Yep.
Ah, I knew it.
I knew it would have that effect on you.
Yeah.
But I thought you would enjoy it. I thought it could give you something else to attack,
I feel like I'm missing something.
I like to attack a lot of
Anyway,
things.
rational mind that brought it down.
Like...
Sorry.
It's kind of funny. We actually have, like, if you go to North Sentinelese Island, we haven't been able to set foot on that island because the natives won't let us. And the last consensus I heard, there's thought to be around 300 people. I mean, these people have been inbreeding for how many years now? For how long? Amongst themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Now, pretty soon, that's going to die. We're going to be able to get on the island because right now we can't even set foot on it, but we're going to be able to. We're going to go in, and then we're going to have all the scientific evidence we need that inbreeding is a very bad thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, let me guess. Let me guess. We're talking about inbreeding. I just got here. I'm assuming Matt Slick, right?
Nate Cunningham brought this up. Nate Cunningham's talking about, like, we have to allow the people who want to marry their own relatives do it, and I'm basically going, go for it. Cool, great. They'll basically they will fuck themselves into extinction. Next.
Yeah. Matt Slick brought it up too, but yeah.
And he doesn't
because me and Drag were talking about it yesterday.
You know, and he's just doing it because now he kind of, he's like, oh, look how bad this is. No, because two gay people getting married aren't gonna inbreed and you fucking idiot. You know, so.
Well, I mean, the title of Nate's video, I honestly think is just clickbait because when he had his hangout, it was either Friday or Saturday. He specifically stated that the marriage that is condoned by this act of the Supreme Court is secular marriage and has nothing to do with biblical marriage, which is between a man, a woman, and God. And he talked for like 20 minutes on all that.
Right.
So I know he's not a closed-minded douchebag, as the title would suggest.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that he got it.
I think it's satire.
It could be. Or it could just be Roy.
Yeah, I don't think that's the position he holds.
He's just opening up the discussion. I don't think he's for legalizing related people getting married.
Oh, Vince, I should probably let you know about this real quick. You were totally right.
Really?
Yep. Juranism clung to that explosion shit like a dung beetle on shit.
Oh, I told you would.
Yep, you were absolutely right. I didn't think you would make a cheap shot, but nope, you were absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker, can't wait for the next successful launch and rub that shit in his face.
Friday.
Can't wait.
What, SpaceX is trying another one?
It's not SpaceX, it's Horizon this time, I think, so it's a NASA one.
Yeah, Atlas V.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, what happened was that we have this flat earther moron that would love nothing more than to see the space program die because the space program continuously debunks this flat Earth bullshit.
Right.
And so he went ahead and posted a video about his so-called laser experiment and how it proves that the Earth is flat when it doesn't. And then he also decided to stick in there the footage of the SpaceX rocket, the Falcon 9, exploding. And he's like, oh, see? Ha ha ha. Look, we're going to go to space. We're going to go to space. Oh, no, you're not. And I'm like, oh, you
Didn't that kill two people?
Shit.
No, nobody was on it.
There was no one on that rocket? Okay, so.
Hey, Red, I got a question for you.
It probably crashed.
Go ahead.
Yeah, what's up?
I was just going to say, he probably thinks that the rocket crashed into the vapor canopy.
Yeah.
God smacked it out the sky.
So about the flat Earth people, like, don't they have telescopes and can't they see like when like Venus or Mars are visible? And can't they just kind of deduce that those planets are round, so why would Earth not be round?
They're going to say that we live under a dome, and we're looking at a big television screen.
You have to also remember that flat earthers have a habit of not trusting their own eyes.
Yeah.
So, for example, when it comes to ships disappearing over the horizon because they're following the curvature of the Earth, for example, they basically say, oh, that whole line of sight principle, yeah, total bullshit. I'm just going to ignore it because reasons, and say that if you were to zoom in closer on that hump of water that's blocking our line of sight with that object, that it will magically just appear again.
That's not a biblical thing. It's not like because of the firmament. Is that why they believe? No, okay, yeah.
Here's the thing. Juranism, the guy I am making a debunking series on, he is an atheist.
Really?
And I find that very hard to believe, but that's what he said.
Oh my god.
That makes me want to throw up a little bit.
I know.
Although I do have to say, the footage that we shot of the Falcon 9 was almost better than NASA's, which says something.
I mean, if you were to look at our footage and their footage, I mean, yeah, we did that shit right. Thanks for helping me with that, by the way, Vincent. It was actually pretty funny, guys, because the sun was right in my face, and Vincent's right there holding an umbrella up to keep the sun out of my face while I'm recording this thing. Which is why on the video you can hear me say repeatedly, keep me shaded, I'm recording this is fucking awesome.
I thought you were just being a delicate little flower.
That's what you call teamwork, by the way. But we'll be going back again seeing another rocket launch, and after Atlas, it's going to be a Delta 4, and after Delta 4, hopefully SpaceX will be done with it and be ready to launch again.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so Duranism's like, yeah, see, oh, look, we're going to get into space, No, I'm like, oh, you immature little shit, I tell you what. Let's say you launch something, let's say you launch 4,000 pounds of cargo into orbit.
They're what, 18 out of 19 now, though? I mean, that's not terrible.
They have a 95% success rate, and he treats one launch failure. Keep in mind it does come at a shitty time, yes, and let's not downplay it. But at the same time, they have a 95% success rate. I mean, fuck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, if I really want to be mean, I would
never convince them.
Yeah, I'd be like, they're SpaceX, dude. They know what the fuck they're doing, okay? One anomaly happened, shit happens. They're gonna pick themselves back up and keep going again.
Hey, we did end up meeting like the world's most retarded engineer ever, though.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, there was this guy there that just looked fucking weird. I actually went over to Vince because there was this guy that was talking to us, and it's one of those people that's talking to you that you really don't want to have talking to you. And I went over to Vince and go, Vince, do you get the idea that this guy is either a pedophile, a rapist, or axe murderer, any combination of the three? And he was like, yeah, I'm getting that vibe too.
Yeah.
He just stood behind me the whole time. It was fucking weird.
Well, and keep in mind, this is the guy who says he's worked on stuff and engineered stuff that they shot into space.
Yeah, and he didn't know how they worked, apparently. He didn't know how they worked. I've never worked on this shit in my life, and I know how it works. I at least have a basic understanding of how rockets work, and this guy didn't even know what second stage meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Well, he didn't know what the fuel in the rocket was either.
Yeah. So, needless to say, it was interesting to see, but we'll be back out, and I'll be doing a special shout out to Duranism, telling him to go fuck himself, and saying we have liftoff of the Falcon 9.
Should I paint the Earth on a paper plate so we can hold it up in front of your camera for a sec?
Yeah.
Tell him that he can go and scissor the flat Earth or something.
Yeah, scissor the flat Earth, dude. Don't get your dick cut off in the process. Fucking idiot. But yeah, enough about my bullshit. Let's talk about this gay marriage shit that's going on.
Yeah.
So who's bitching about it this time?
I think it's really good.
Mostly Nate and Roy, mostly.
Yeah. Although, I'm sure give Ronnie some time and he'll wade in. He's wading into everything else.
I mean, the Supreme Court, in their ruling, said nothing, absolutely nothing, about state-recognized marriage being valid in the eyes of God. It never said that, but yet these morons by the name of Matt Slick and, they say that, well, that's exactly what the Supreme Court is trying to do.
Well, they also never said that it had to be performed in a church or anything like that because this is a legal contract.
Yeah,
so,
they said nothing about church, said nothing about God, said nothing about blessing or whatever.
Via the Establishment Clause and Free Exercise Clause, churches are still perfectly able, as nonprofits, as churches, to go, I'm sorry you can't get married here because, that. And the government really can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, nor are they trying to do anything about that. Yeah. But yet Matt Slick is acting like he's getting persecuted and that he's getting ready for a fucking holy war. It's like...
Well, it's a persecution porn thing, dude.
It's like, dude, seriously, calm the fuck down. No one is going to church with fucking battering rams with the fucking rainbow sticker on it telling you that you gotta marry these people.
I don't know, dude. If I could afford a tank, I'd paint it rainbow.
Talking of this... Can I just bring in something that's sort of tangential to this? Somebody made a post about that horrendous fire at the Taiwanese water park.
Several people have made posts about that.
And they claimed it was... Yeah, what they're saying is that it was a gay event because it was coloured powder that was being flung around. And that the powder catching fire and burning over 500 plus people is God's judgment on the Supreme Court of the US for passing that legislation. And I have to ask myself this question. Why would anybody who believes that want to worship a being that they themselves think got angry with a bunch of judges in the American Supreme Court and so burned 500 plus people in Taiwan?
In Taiwan? Well, keep in mind...
This is something that's getting put out there.
Well, let's say I don't think that's something that we can totally blame them for. After all, they do have a very, very proud history of looking at any tragedy and attributing it to God's judgment in some way, shape, or form. I mean, they're fucking experts at this. They're experts at this.
Unless the tragedy came at the hands of, I don't know, let's say, a white guy who happened to be Christian, and then they're all about how tragic it was and how confused that guy was. Yeah.
But the really sad thing about this is that if they bothered to even look at it, they would realise that the company that was hosting this party has been doing so since 2013, and that it's actually based on a Hindu festival.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with gay pride. But they're trying to make it about gay pride, to try and tie it in. And to me, what that, in a way, seems to be saying of the people who are making this argument is, I want to take pleasure in all of these people being burned. So let me see how I can somehow twist gay rights into this so that nobody will have a go at me for enjoying people being burned. Now that might be a bit too condemnatory of them. But that's what it's like. It's like torture porn.
It is to a point.
I found the post so offensive.
Because they want to be able to use that event as a scare tactic, because that's how American society is run. It's all about fear.
Basically, it's like I said before. They're going to try and find any disaster, and say that it's God's judgment based on something that has nothing to do with their religion. In this case, it was in Taiwan over something that happened in America, and it's like, what the fuck? I mean, the only thing America did was catch up with the rest of the world in terms of progress, and it's like, suck a dick, honestly.
We became just as progressive as countries like Mexico.
Yeah, I know. It's like, we're America. We're almost not terrible.
Well, I mean, it's like we had that guy in England from UKIP who was saying that it was gay people causing the rain. It was the...
You got some really bad connection issues, Chaz.
Yeah, breaking up badly.
Just in case you didn't hear that, Chaz, I said, yeah, some really bad connection issues. See if so. But yeah. But yesterday we were looking at Matt Slick, Dragnut, and all of us pals were just absolutely hammering Matt Slick on his points. And right now, I'm at that point where I actually wouldn't mind ripping that guy a new asshole. I actually wouldn't mind talking to him. I promised myself I would never get dragged into talking to that low-life piece of shit, but I feel like maybe one day I'll hop in and say, you know what, dude, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's that's the only response there is.
Yeah. But of course, that doesn't Matt Slick. Matt Slick has that website. I don't know. Does he make money off that website?
Farm.org, yeah.
He does make money off of that site?
Of course he does.
Oh. Huh. Well, that might explain some things. Might mean that he has, oh no, society's progressing. What will I do with my bank account?
He's concerned with his bigotry being illegal.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, Matt Slick, you're concerned with your bigotry being made illegal, and trust me, it would make me the happiest man in the world to see that actually happen. But the fact of the matter is that we still have free speech. You're allowed to say whatever you want, however you want, and be the most bigoted motherfucker you can possibly imagine. The thing is though, your bigotry is not law. Deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, keep in mind, it's not bigotry to call homosexuality a sin. It's just the right thing to do, and he's not a bigot because he says it's a sin.
It's not circular how?
Well,
Yeah,
if he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't need to do it. I mean, just because I'm on a diet doesn't mean you can't have cookies.
Exactly. And this is what I always say. You know, Matt, listen, if you don't want a gay relationship, don't have one. No one is forcing you to have one.
I think he's just jealous that he can't have one.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he could work something out with Kent
Oh,
Miller. That guy's been in jail for a while.
Yeah. I put a video up the other day dealing with this sort of. It was to do with the baker and the cake for the gay wedding, but it's something that I've been thinking about in relation to a lot of other things. And if we look at the 7 deadly sins, homosexuality isn't one of them, but gluttony is. And that's why I made the video about the baker baking a cake and then refusing to give it to someone who was fat. And nobody would defend that sort of thing. No. Oh, I don't want to participate in your sin of gluttony, therefore I'm not going to give you the cake.
It's like, I mean, these people that go into the public square, they have to abide by anti-discrimination or anti-discrimination laws, and I'm glad that they're getting sued out their ass, you know, and after we sue them all, it'll be like we're saying a president that goes, listen, if you want to operate in the public square, you're not going to be a piece of shit like that. It's just not going. It's not going to work like that. Otherwise, we will shut your ass down, or you're going to get sued for discrimination, which you rightfully should be sued for discrimination. You know, it's just like the gluttony thing, or I'm not going to serve black people because it's against whatever fucked up religion I happen to believe in at the time. That is discrimination. I'm not going to serve Jews because I'm a Nazi. That's discrimination. I'm not going to serve fucking, you know, anybody because I'm a bigot towards that one particular group of people. That's fuck you, seriously.
I think a lot of people forget that, yes, they have all these rights, but their rights stop when exercising those rights trample the rights of another.
Mm-hmm. Like if you have a right to open a business, but there's laws pertaining to your business. There's laws pertaining to every business. You don't get a get out of jail free card just because you're a bigot.
Yeah.
You know, you can't open a business that says 50 cents for drinking at a water fountain, but no black people allowed.
Yeah.
It's like, seriously, you know, someone would punch that guy in the mouth. Probably be me before someone else got to him.
Yeah.
I don't understand where these motherfuckers get the idea that type of bullshit is okay. It just isn't.
It's
And
because they're more interested in their rights rather than human rights.
yeah, they separate them. You know,
Mhm.
and this is why I am so pushing for, you know, us inhabiting Mars, because then we can go there and start all over, or put all the dumb fucks there and say, okay, have fun, guys.
I'd be scared to go to Mars because I've been reading posts from that little rover and it's really angry.
Yeah.
The rover's angry.
Yeah, it's a sarcastic rover. It's supposed to be tweets from the little rover on Mars, and it is really pissed off at the moment.
Yeah.
So what's it saying?
It's really bitter at humanity for having stranded it there.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much.
You want to know something else? The Curiosity rover has one speaker on it, literally just one speaker on its back, and the only reason that speaker is there is so that it can sing "Happy Birthday" to itself.
What?
And I just thought that has got to be the most depressing thing I have ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah.
50 years from now, be invaded by aliens, and all you're gonna hear is that song. Like, why are they singing "Happy Birthday" to us?
Yep, it's just the rovers doing its work, and then do. It's like, no, that's so sad.
It kind of makes you feel like the people who designed it watched Wall-E or something like the night before.
It's nice to know that there's at least a humans on the other side of that damn thing. It's like, but still, that's kind of sad.
Yeah, but you should follow the Twitter feed of Sarcastic Rover. It's hilarious.
Sarcastic rover.
Yeah, Sarcastic Rover. Some of the tweets it's come out with, I mean, they're just... They've had me on the floor.
It's on Twitter called Sarcastic Rover.
Yep.
I'm doing that right now.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
Okay,
It's
here it
been
is.
going for quite
Sarcastic
some
rover.
time. There was one
Hey
before.
kids, how many aliens can you find in this picture? Hint, they're all staring blankly with murderous intent. Mars, a nice place to visit, but you wouldn't want to breathe here.
He's very upset at humans for having stranded him there.
Yeah.
I think at one point he was campaigning Hillary for president because he was hoping that he would be able to convince a female to mount a rescue mission for him.
Here's a different shot to give some context on Cheesecake Rock. It looks delicious for a rock.
It's really not impressed, is it?
Now, if only the Martian High Court would let robots marry rocks, sigh.
Poor wee thing. You have to feel sorry for it.
But has it said whether or not those rocks are atheists?
I've read 2 books about dinosaurs. One was called Jurassic Park. The other was called Jurassic Park 2.
At some point, I will be so advanced, or at some point, Ali will be so advanced that robots won't happily do things anymore. We'll do them reluctantly, in a huff, like a teenager. Let's see.
Now, if a teenager, I know that.
Now, if only Gmail could invent an unsend feature to Mars rovers, then maybe I could get home.
Oh.
The last time I was on Earth, Tobey Maguire was still Spider-Man.
I don't know who's behind it, but it's very, very good.
This one's fucked up. Spent all Father's Day trying to make a necktie out of a rock before I realized I have no one to give it to.
Yeah.
Nobody tried the Urban Dictionary sarcastic rover, right? Because I'm kind of afraid to if that's the thing.
It's springtime on Mars, which means all the little baby bunnies are coming out and then instantly freezing to death. It's a grim planet. Wow.
Kind of fucked up. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to read them all. You'll go through them all because I'm sure you'll enjoy them.
Yeah. This was when it was just about to land. Sorry, I can't come to the phone right now. There's a giant flaming ball of plasma blocking my reception. Also, I'm busy playing Bejeweled. Wow.
I would actually laugh if, in its time up there, the Curiosity rover somehow is the machine that evolves and actually comes back to Earth and destroys us.
Yeah.
It turns itself into V'ger, basically.
Yep. That's what I was
Although it'd come
thinking.
back, wipe everybody out, and then it would realise it's on a planet by itself again. And there'd be a great sort of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy sort of irony in the whole situation.
Wow. If you really want to avoid Game of Thrones spoilers, you should come to Mars. The internet here sucks.
Oh, dear.
Jurassic World is the best giant blockbuster movie ever made about why Hollywood should stop making giant blockbuster movies.
Okay, that reminds me. Has Filey made contact again with them? Do you know?
It had a while back, but I'm not sure since then.
Yeah, it was last week. I think it was. I was just wondering if there had been anything since then.
Not that I'm aware of.
Rats.
Wow. And for those of you just joining, Pele, the comet lander, has awoken after months of silence. All I know is any time a robot in a movie mysteriously wakes up from a scary space hibernation, things do not turn out well for humanity.
True story.
That was from Sarcastic Rover.
Yes.
But
Wow.
I just wondered if there was anything else. I'm just going to check that out because I would love to see the data coming back from that.
I think they did actually establish communication with it again, didn't they?
They did a week
Because
ago.
didn't it land and then it fell into a crater or something like that, or one of its legs fell and it sort of like
It
lost.
landed, it bounced, and then it went into a quiet, shaded corner.
Yeah, so it can't recharge its solar panels, so its battery died. But as the comet is getting closer to the sun, it's getting more daylight or more sunlight, so the battery recharged. And it made contact, I think, last week. Well, it was on June the 13th.
The week before last, yeah.
And I'm just wondering if there's been anything since then.
They're probably
Because
still
I'd love-
analysing the data that they've got and checking that the systems are all functioning correctly.
So I think they're repositioning Rosetta to get into a better position for reception.
Yeah, I believe they were repositioning Rosetta as well.
I've got something that was news from 6 hours ago, so let's have a look.
Wow.
We're having trouble getting the connection between the probe and the mothership. Oh dear. And the last contact was June the 24th, but no useful exchange of data. Blast.
All right. People all curious about these bright spots on Ceres, as if they're not obviously several dozen bat signals. Wow. So he looked at a bunch of rocks that are like in a row. There's 3 rocks in a row, and he says, "I discovered the Great Wall of Mars." Kind of a letdown, to be honest.
I like when he puts in those wee things and then says, "I'm going to science the shit out of this."
Wow. And NASA's even retweeting his tweets. Holy shit, Sarcastic Rover, you're the best. I gotta get a Twitter.
I have a Twitter. You don't have a Twitter, really?
No, I don't have a Twitter, Facebook, or any of that shit, honestly.
Man. Make me
Happy
feel like I'm on
Monday,
top of my
meatbag.
game and shit.
It says, Happy Monday, meatbags. Look at this weird rock. It's on Mars. Oh yeah, you already knew that.
Yeah. Does it look like a retarded potato, or is it round?
I've just found an image that I'd never seen before, and it's of the Philae lander during its first bounce off the comet.
Oh wow. So the Curiosity rover, as seen from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, and then it says, "Holy shit, I'm so adorable." Actual tweet. Holy shit, I'm so adorable.
Oh.
Epic. That is epic.
There's a lot of this stuff coming out of rover that's going to be fascinating.
Big thanks to NASA for making me climb up this stupid hill so I can smell rocks or whatever I do when I'm on a hill. Yeah, the Large Hadron Collider is back up and running again, just in case you notice the universe collapsing on itself or something. Oh, wow.
His glass is half empty.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't half feel sorry for himself. I'm going to have to go and feed my child. He hasn't got dressed. It's the summer holidays. He hasn't got dressed all day. He's wandering about the house in a minion onesie still. A big giant minion wandering about in a teenage strop. It's enough to put anybody off. Right, guys. Ta-ta.
Yep. Nice. Big thanks to NASA for letting me celebrate my 1000th soul by doing some staring at the ground and nothing else. Oh, wow.
Alright, sorry about that. Had a work order guy come over and take care of some stuff. Oh, okay, so have we... Did anybody actually catch Nate Cunningham's video, or did we talk about that?
I was in Cunningham's Hangout. I spoke with him recently.
So
but if he uploaded like a actual video, then no, I didn't watch it.
I think it was a live hangout that he was doing today about if you don't accept incestuous marriage, then you're a bigot.
Right.
Wait a minute, what?
I was just there.
Oh, you were just there? Oh, go ahead, Blue. Tell us what happened.
Oh, well, I mean, I got real mad and didn't stay long, but, I mean, it's very simple. Well, how come you don't accept incestuous marriages if you're for a gay marriage? I mean, it's the same shit. And I was just like, you know, because that doesn't involve consent, ultimately. Oh, you don't know that? And I was like, yes, I do. Fuck you. So, I mean, I don't understand where this comes from. Why gay marriage, they have to bring up incest and they have to bring up bestiality as if those things were related. I don't understand it.
Well, they're the same arguments from Loving versus Virginia when interracial marriage was illegal. They've literally rehashed what their parents taught them.
Right.
Sorry, Nate. Just putting it out there.
That's exactly right. When was Loving versus Virginia? It's been a while. Wasn't that 67?
64, 67, I believe. Let me look it up. Actually, I have an iPad. Why am I doing that? Oh, so lazy. Mars rover. Let's see.
I mean, I never went to law school, but I know about some cases.
67.
Woohoo, bubbly. Called my shot.
But it's cool. I mean, they can rehash the same thing. The only question is now, since there has now been a law passed to restrict bigots from discriminating against gays and getting married. Well, gays getting married. What now? What new antagonists are many of these fundamentalists going to reach out at? And someone yesterday said, well, of course, the most obvious, atheists. Or is that just grasping at straws?
I went ahead and took a peek over there. Apparently D is talking about some genetics and incest and what's going on, so I think he's getting pretty thoroughly destroyed.
Really?
Yeah.
Who else is there?
Let me take a look. Alex.
I mean, who else is there? Because if he's there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop over there, and if he's saying something stupid, I'm going to go over there and beat the shit out of him, and then I'll be right back.
Oh, Shani for Christ is there.
Oh God, no, not Shani for Christ.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to try and stream it.
Armin's over there and some other stuff.
I'm surprised Roy isn't there with his whip.
Oh. Hey, in the beginning, God or not God? Shut the fuck up, Roy.
Yeah.
Hi, dear. They can see you. Wave hi.
Let me see if I can look this up real quick. It's Nate Cunningham.
Yeah. Hey, Alex. Good to see you.
Hello. How you doing?
Let's see if we can find this turd knocker. So let's see. We have if you don't support incestuous marriage, you're a bigot. Okay. Fucked up title. So let's see. Some guy with a cross. I know 3 of them. I know that guy. That guy. Yeah, he's gonna get his ass thoroughly destroyed here in a minute.
Well, the thing is, obviously, someone said it is clickbait, but talking to Christian Hillbilly really illuminated something that many of these fundamentalists don't actually know how bigotry works. If you have a staunch position and then you are unable to even consider the fact that it could be wrong, then you start moving into the bigot category. You are just completely obstinate and just stuck in your position, such as, well, many, I'll say many, I'm trying to qualify this as best I can, many fundamentalists that we speak to on Google Plus will state that, well, you're an atheist because you lack evidence. So evidence is, your atheism is contingent upon evidence, which for most cases is true. You know, there is a lack of evidence. But if we kind of flip that around on them, then, okay, we say if there's a lack of evidence or we found evidence to disprove your belief in a God, you know, what then? Well, they say it doesn't matter.
Well,
so,
you know, they say, is evidence happening? Did it happen? Because, you know, if it's happening, it's not self whatever the hell. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like an argument from contingency. By the way, I hate that guy.
You do?
Trey Jadlow? Yeah, I really don't like him at all.
Well, Trey's kind of a special type of retard.
Trey Jadlow?
Yeah.
He's over there?
Not at the moment, thankfully.
Oh, if he was
that's just how it always comes up, is, you know, is you need evidence. Okay, well, did that thing happen? Because if it happened, then it's not, you know, self-creating or whatever the hell it is. It's contingent on something else.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's contingency all the way down.
Well, I wouldn't be able to hop in anyway because apparently they got a full house, so at least that'll stop me from going into a hangout where I might have to ram my head against the wall because people are morons and don't understand gay marriage to save their own fucking life.
I think that Nate is trying to grasp on a bit of Matt Slick's persecution complex. And as someone had mentioned in a comment earlier, either today or late yesterday, that Nate is moving down the fundamentalist path, slowly but surely. And then someone does corrected them and saying, no, he's been down that path for a long time. You know, he's just been taking a longer route than everyone else. So.
Yeah. So, as of right now, is this just clickbait? Because that's what it's looking like.
I think it is,
Yeah,
and I agree with whoever brought it up first that in true Nate fashion, it is clickbait, and it is an attempt to do his whole fence straddling thing where he wants to appear on the surface to kind of mock fundamentalists and make himself appear more moderate and more rational, but then agree with fundamentalists.
Ah, I see what he's doing. The whole look at this, distract him with this hand so that they can't see this one.
I wish I had one of my son's toys as the clicker, like from the last Jurassic Park movie, Jurassic World, where he has a clicker. Look, click, 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 click. So, no, I have not spoken to Nate. I've been taking a shit on him because of some of the things he's been saying, but I would like to talk to Nate because I do enjoy speaking to people who are that pretentious. It is hilarious, but he is still a bit more reasonable to deal with. I'd rather deal with him than Christian Hillbigot for obvious reasons.
Sorry, Pillbox.
I've blocked Pillbox. I rarely block people, but I've got enough of him manipulating people and being a true Poe. So that's enough for you.
I block a Pillbox, aka Bubbles, because that guy is. I mean, even when you throw something right in his face and say, "Look, it's right here, motherfucker," he will deny. I'm like, okay, you are officially intellectually dishonest as they come, and I'm talking Psi 10 levels of intellectual dishonesty, and you have to really fuck up to get that bad. So, see ya. I'm done. Not talking to you. Bye.
Well, I will give it to him that he stays in character the entire time.
Yeah, but he constantly tries to. Now his new thing is saying that NASA fakes everything, which, my fucking cup of tea. No, you ain't gonna get pat. Oh look, there's bubbles here. Oh look, they're shooting it on a green screen. It's all CGI. Oh, sing a new fucking song.
Tell that to the people
I'm
who
sorry,
came
but
from
you
the
guys
front.
have seen the shit that's just gone on in the sidebar, right? You guys are reading that shit.
Casually.
You see the fucking point I was making.
We can pause the conversation and let you two discuss it. This is an open hangout, gentlemen.
No, he's fucking left now.
Okay, well, if you want to, Chaz, man, you got the next 10 minutes to read it off. Like I said, you know what? If y'all want to come and hash out this stuff on my channel and want to discuss
sorry,
it
but
more,
I pointed out how Alex Bolton was acting like he was pretty much looking for attention. And he's come into this hangout and 5 minutes ago written, "Not going to say anything, Chaz, ? To which I put back, like what? You are obviously looking for drama and attention right now. However, I'm not going to indulge it because I promised people I would leave you alone. P.S. I understand what you're going through to some respect. However, my advice is to not involve yourself in YouTube dramas. My whole point has been the last place you need to be is the internet. You should be in the real world dealing with your real world problems." To which
his response, no, I'm nor looking for drama. Stop projecting. So I'm also not allowed to join a hangout without looking for drama and attention? ? Fuck you, prick.
Exactly. Do you see? And then rage quits the hangout. Do you see?
Yes.
This is the point that I'm making. Alex Bolton is going around throwing a little fucking tantrum over the internet, looking for tea and sympathy, looking for fucking attention. And I'm sorry, if anybody else in the G Plus community was doing this shit, if 90% of the people out there were doing it, and someone called them out on it, they would get fucking congratulated. But there is this little crick who, if you criticize them, whatever way, there will always be a bunch of people throwing themselves on their sword to defend that person's honor. And I'm sorry, I'm going to be screen sharing that, and I'm going to be posting it all over G+, so people can see exactly what Alex Bolton's like behind closed doors. Everybody should look at that, and nobody should be giving him the time of day. Certainly not trying to say that anything I said in my video was that harsh, because I have fucking let go of things that were actually harsh when I made that video.
This is kind of why I originally blocked him, Chaz, and quite honestly, being that this is a new channel of mine, Red's Rhetoric, from my previous Redline V8, I forgot to block the fucker.
I'd rather have the discourse happen with words It's much more interesting that way, and people can kind of actively participate in, because even now, if you screenshot what's being said, people can see it after the fact, but it's much easier for, like I said, folks to follow kind of what's going on and to
you're not going to get that with Alex Botton, because here's the thing: the guy is an attention whore, but he's an attention whore in the sense that he only wants the attention if it's always going his way. And if the only way it can be always going his way is if he's in control. He's not in control of your Hangout. He can't tell you to do shit in your own Hangout. And so, be that as it may, he's not going to stick around because he doesn't want to get an unfiltered ass reaming. And so that's why he normally rage quits all the time, and with other people's Hangouts I've seen. You're not going to get discourse with that guy. That would be pretty cool. And I'm inviting Alex Botton to come back in here and prove me wrong.
And that's fine. He's more than welcome to come, and I not necessarily plead his case, but he's welcome to come in and defend himself like anyone. But until Alex Botton comes back, I'd rather we leave it alone until he can, or until he wants to actually, defend himself, since he is able to at this point in time. Just to be fair, like I said, Dragnot's going to be on Dragnot's side at the end of the her side too. But Dragnot's side at the end of the day.
We get what you're saying. Yeah, that's perfectly cool.
But welcome, Shadow Heathen.
Which one am I on today? Actually, I'm on 13, aren't I? Whoops.
Welcome, 13s of Shadows.
Heathens, how are you?
Well, fuck it. We might just go ahead and look in some more Matt Slick then.
Oh crap! You want me to set up my audio again? Oh man.
I was just gonna say because what I ended up doing is renaming that last Hangout, the last 4 hours, to the Matt Slick Beatdown. And so what I was going to do is leave it alone today. We just kind of have a general discussion. We could just have a recap kind of today of what was said, and then tomorrow, since today is going to be Talking Shit Tuesday, I presume, and
no, tomorrow actually they rescheduled.
Yeah, he pushed it back.
Yeah.
That motherfucker.
Well, it's a matter of when he gets home. He's on vacation with the kids.
Fuck him. I'm just kidding. No, I understand. So, Bull Piss is going to be on at 4:30. So what I might do, say everybody will take a 10-minute break. I'll start a new Hangout, and it's going to be the Matt Slick Beatdown Part 2.
Dun dun dun.
So everybody who's in here now will be invited. Have first come, first serve after that point until it fills up, and it's going to be the same thing. We're going to pick it up at around 57, 58, maybe 59, wherever the fuck it is that he said that he's going to be arrested in the near fucking future. Wherever that is, however that is, we're going to. That was a suspense. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin at that point. So now we're not at this cliffhanger. We finally find out what fucking frivolous claim he's going to throw out as to substantiate that.
Not much of a cliffhanger. Take stupid shit, pull it out of ass. This is just the pattern.
Magic. God did it.
Actually, I don't think he's rinsing.
God wants him arrested. Okay, gents, ladies, let me get a list of who all in here first. Let's see. Cheswold, Shadow, let's see, Redline, Groovy, Furry, and me. Okay, so get that. I will start a new Hangout. For the 19 people still watching, we're going to take a little 10-minute break. It is about 1:20 my time, and so at 1:30, the new Hangout, or around 1:30.
Give or take. I have to spend some time getting my audio prepped.
Okay, yeah, give or take.
For this, so
just take about a 10-minute break, and we will actually start the Hangout amongst ourselves, but it will not go live, and we'll go live once 13 gets his stuff ready. So go get something to eat. Go fap. I suggest Hitomi Tanaka, Bukkake, and enjoy yourself. Grab some fucking popcorn.
I'll be back after fapping.
Yep. Hitomi Tanaka. High five.
Hitomi's good stuff.
Hitomi Tanaka. The porn star, the Japanese porn star, the big titties.
You're gonna have to send me that name because I gotta look this shit up.
Okay. Let's see. HIT.
Hang on, I got it because I got a gift.
HIT.
I put it in the chat. HITOMITANAKA. Hitomi Tanaka.
Okay, let's go ahead and do a search here.
She has like J's. This is ridiculous. Just
J's, really?
No, they're bigger than that. There.
That's
Jeez,
true.
there's a spelling for you too.
Yeah, hers are ridiculous. Like I enjoy watching her, but if I'm just looking at them, it's just man, those look painful to have.
Yeah.
I am biased because she's Japanese. I will fully admit Japanese bias. Well, I just said hers are too huge. Listen, after D's, that's just painful to look at. Okay, I am Japanese. Okay, I am biased. Okay, yeah. Okay. I'm arguing with my wife.
Not a good choice.
I'm already say that. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and stop the broadcast. Take 10.
All right, peace.